every turn.
Pamela Anderson leaves breast surgery scare on ET.
It has happened again. Students run for their lives as gunmen open fire in an American high school.
Everyone around me got shot, and I begged him for 10 minutes not to shoot me.
Tonight, the massacre in Littleton, Colorado.
This is the CBS Evening News with Dan Rather.
And this is a special Western edition. Good evening. Dan is off tonight. I'm John Roberts. School violence erupted again today, suddenly and with a vengeance, this time in Colorado. The attackers, said to be two former students with explosives, guns, and a grudge, are reported among the 25 or more dead. Hospitals also reported receiving 20 wounded. The terror went on for hours at Columbine High School in the Denver suburb of Littleton. CBS's Bob McNamara is on the scene now with late details. Bob?
It has become an American nightmare, too familiar in too many schools in this country, but none was ever as deadly as this one. Police have taken control of Columbine High School, and two suspected gunmen are dead, apparently of their own hand. But the worst news of all is that police say as many as 25 students and perhaps teachers have been killed in the shooting spree. And tonight, the state is in shock. The shooting broke out just before lunch. It was brutal and bloody.
Everyone around me got shot, and I begged him for 10 minutes not to shoot me. He just put the gun in my face and started bleeding everywhere and started laughing, saying that it was all because people were mean to him last year.
Students who saw the gunmen identified them as senior boys dressed in black trench coats, wearing masks, and were known around school as the Trench Coat Mafia. At first, some thought all the commotion was a senior class prank.
I was just in science taking notes, and all of a sudden these three kids ran in our room saying, we're gonna hide in here. And at first, we thought it was a senior prank.
As scores of police, including SWAT teams, surrounded the school, the gunmen holed up inside. And from time to time, students could be seen running for their lives from the school building. A helicopter pilot identified a sign in the school window as saying,
"It says, help, I'm bleeding to death."
Every Denver area hospital was placed on disaster alert to receive the wounded and the injured, and several victims were wounded critically. As news of the shooting spread, parents raced to tearful reunions with children who had escaped the chaos. Even a television reporter was overcome by the scene.
The emotion was incredible. It's hard for a parent to see the parents who came.
Kathy, take a moment.
Police say the shooters were former Columbine students who may have been on a suicide mission. Eyewitnesses said they appeared to target minorities and athletes as their victims. And the biggest question tonight is why. John?
Bob McNamara in Littleton, Colorado. Late today, police at the scene gave their first accounting of the horror they found inside and around the school and what happened as best they could tell. CBS's Jim Stewart is tracking that part of the story.
John, all afternoon, Colorado authorities knew they were dealing with a very bad and dangerous situation, but at the end of the day, what they thought they would end up dealing with was a hostage situation. They had negotiators on hand, and they were setting up ways to actually communicate with the suspects. But when they finally got inside, they found a far different situation.
So, two dead in the library.
Two dead in the library. Do you think they may be the suspects?
Well, we're not sure if there is a third or not yet, or how many. We're still in the SWAT operation is still going on in there.
Two dead suspects?
Two dead suspects.
So what about a possible motive? And did it look like they were dead from self-inflicted wounds?
It's possible.
Other details now are starting to emerge. Authorities have found an unexploded bomb in one of the suspects' homes, as well as 3 at the school, and they are investigating a pipe bomb explosion that occurred near the school at approximately the time of the shootings. Authorities have also disclosed details of what they found inside the high school. Most of the victims, they said, were shot at point-blank range. Authorities say it appears that the gunman deliberately sought out and stalked specific students and members of the faculty. They were armed with a shotgun and what police describe as a fully automatic weapon. Most of the bodies were found in the cafeteria and in the library, which is where at least 2 of the suspects were also found. John?
Jim Stewart in Washington. At the White House this evening, President Clinton said the nation needs to wake up to the reality of school violence because what happened in Littleton could happen anywhere.
I think tonight we owe it to the people of Littleton and to the families involved in this tragedy to let them go through the grieving and deal and try to get the facts. And then the rest of us have a responsibility to do everything we can to make sure this doesn't make 1999 a year like last year, that we don't have another rash of this, that we really can be more effective in preventing it.
With me now here in our New York headquarters is Dr. Dave Nida, a sports team physician for Columbine High School, also a medical correspondent for our CBS station KCNC in Denver. These two perpetrators were alleged to be members of this group which called themselves the Trenchcoat Mafia, sort of outsiders in the school who identified themselves by wearing these long black trench coats. What do you know of this group?
John, from what I know, about 6 to 12 students have been members of the Trenchcoat Mafia over about a 3-year period, and they do wear all black. They wear black trench coats, black sunglasses all the time. And to give you an idea of what their philosophy is, in last year's Columbine High School yearbook, they put a quote in that said, "Who says insanity is crazy? Insanity is healthy."
These were said to be almost outcasts of the society of the school. They listened to the music of Marilyn Manson. They didn't really associate or identify with anybody else at the school. Have there been signs that maybe something like this has been brewing over the years?
It's very tough to say. There had been some problems at Columbine High School years ago where there had been some swastikas put on school property, school lockers. But I think it's much too early to say if there's any association here with this particular incident.
As well as your duties at KCNC in Denver and on our This Morning program, you're also a physician at Swedish Hospital in Denver where many of the victims were taken. What do you know of the situation there?
The injuries ranged from minor injuries, fragments from bullets, glass, wood, to very serious injuries, gunshot wounds to the head and also to the chest.
Dr. Dave Nida with some inside perspective. Thanks. The school massacre in Colorado today may be on a scale that we have never seen before, but the phenomenon of kids turning guns on their schoolmates is all too familiar. CBS's Richard Schlesinger reports.
How did it come to this? It's a question the nation keeps asking. We asked after this shooting in Pearl, Mississippi.
Can't see how a child only 15 or 14, how they could have so much hate and so much rage in them.
We asked again 2 months later after this shooting in Paducah, Kentucky. Again, just a little more than a year ago in Jonesboro, Arkansas, and again less than a year ago in Springfield, Oregon. Before today, the toll was 14 dead, 44 injured, 4 schools forever changed. And they're still counting in Littleton. So how does it come to this?
You can't predict which kids will do this and which ones won't.
Jeffrey Fagan teaches at Columbia University.
If a kid makes a threat, the correlation between the number of kids who make threat and the small fraction of them who actually carry out the threat, it's so tiny that you can't make any kind of valid prediction based on uttering a threat.
It's worth remembering that the experts say there's only a tiny chance of a child being killed in one of these incidents. But these scenes are so shocking because they remind us so forcefully of what some children have become.
Well, it's always been true that kids are impulsive, impatient, and imprudent. That's part of being an adolescent. But today, they're better armed.
And schools have to contend with the fact that a troubled student could become something much worse with the speed of a bullet. Richard Schlesinger, CBS News, New York.
We'll have the very latest on the school shooting in Colorado and the rest of the day's news when the CBS Evening News continues in a moment.
Try new Genuine Bear Gel Caps, the only gel cap that can help save your life. New Bear Gel Caps, powerful pain relief, and so much more.
Overactive bladder.
Those strong, sudden urges.
Going to the bathroom so often.
Wedding accidents.
Discover prescription Detrol. Detrol is proven effective to treat overactive bladder. Detrol reduced bathroom visits by 2.2 times in 24 hours versus 1.1 times with a sugar pill.
Stay a little longer?
Love to.
1.2 fewer wedding accidents occurred with Detrol versus 0.8 fewer with a sugar pill. Similar decreases over 24 hours. Do not take Detrol if you have certain types of stomach, urinary, or glaucoma problems. The most common side effect is dry mouth at 39.5% for Detrol versus 15.9% for sugar pill. Common but less frequent ones may include dry eyes, headache, constipation, and indigestion.
Head back?
Not right now.
For more product information, call us or ask your doctor about prescription Detrol, proven effective to treat overactive bladder.
Right, I asked my doctor about Detrol.
More now on tonight's still unfolding story, the deadly shooting rampage at a high school in the Denver suburb of Littleton, Colorado. With 25 or more killed and events breaking so fast, we want to stand back and slow down for a moment for another look at what happened in these raw and disturbing images from the scene as we took them in late today.
At 11:30, two men, young men, entered the school dressed in long, dark, black trench coats. Apparently, at this point in time, from what we understand from witnesses, they were carrying handguns, perhaps long guns as well, and some kind of explosive devices, perhaps grenades, firecrackers, or perhaps pipe bombs. They started shooting. They opened fire and began to allegedly throw the explosive devices as well.
There was a big gunshot, and a teacher ran by with a bloody shoulder. So we knew there was something wrong, and we all hid in the corner.
We saw them. One of them turned at us, started shooting.
Toward you?
Yeah, towards us. We were probably 100 yards away. We fell to the ground.
I do know that there are 4 SWAT teams being used right now at this time, and how many of those are in, I don't know.
And the bomb squad is also here?
The bomb squad has been called in, yes.
Now, we want you to hear more from an eyewitness to the shooting. She's a student at the school, a young woman named Janine, whom you saw briefly in Bob McNamara's report.
And then we heard, like, popping, and we didn't know what it was, and then I looked out the window, and there's this guy throwing, like, a pipe bomb at all the cars. And then he came in, they, like, started blowing up and shooting everyone in the cafeteria. And then you could hear them laughing and running upstairs, and they were shooting anyone of color wearing a white hat or played a sport. And they didn't care who it was, and it was all at close range.
What did you see? You have blood on your hands.
Everyone around me got shot, and I begged him for 10 minutes not to shoot me. And he just put the gun in my face and started bleeding everywhere and started laughing, saying that it was all because people were mean to him last year.
Who were these people?
I don't know.
You saw other people get...
He did it right in front of us.
Police say tonight they know who the suspects are and that they are dead. There is other important news tonight, including the war in the Balkans. We'll have the story and the pictures from Yugoslavia in a moment.
You may be surprised who's drinking Ensure. Healthy people. Why? Because to help you stay healthy, you have to eat right. For the times you can't eat nutritious foods like these, drink Ensure. With the essential vitamins and minerals you find in vegetables, calcium like in milk, and protein like in fish. Ensure is a source of complete balanced nutrition to help you stay active and energetic. Drink Ensure. And drink to your health.
I see we're getting quite a jump on this.
Has just made like a sort of a recent move in the last 3 minutes.
How's your day going?
How are the pharmaceutical stocks doing?
First thing on the docket is to get as much information as I can.
Yeah, let me check it.
For average daily volume being 27,000, so it looks like we're on track. So I can provide our clients with the best detailed information possible.
We're going to help them with all the research and all the information that we have here.
There's some regulatory legislation going adverse effect on their stock.
Chart looks good.
Checking with you next week.
Sounds great. Nice talking to you. Have a good weekend.
Have a good weekend, too.
Thanks.
I'm gonna live forever.
I'm gonna ruin your shirt. Stay. Baby, remember my name.
The amazing new Maytag Neptune washer. With its Turbo Clean Wash system, it actually has the power to remove stains.
Say goodnight, Stains.
I wanna live forever.
Now in a super stack.
Tonight on Coin 6 News at 6.
The high school shooting outside of Denver hits close to home. We'll have reaction from survivors of the Thurston shooting in a live report tonight at 6.
4 weeks into the military showdown between the NATO allies and Yugoslavia, both sides say they're winning. Once again tonight, NATO said its planes struck military targets, tanks, military barracks, and communication sites. At the same time, the Allies report more brutal ethnic cleansing by Serbian forces on the ground in Kosovo. CBS News national security correspondent David Martin has the latest from the Pentagon.
Throughout the first month of bombing, NATO planes have returned to their bases with weapons still under their wings because clouds obscured the target. Bad weather has done more than Serb air defenses to hinder the campaign to grind down Milosevic's military machine.
No one should expect, in a period of roughly 10 days of clear weather, that we could accomplish our mission.
Still, every night, no matter what the weather, some weapons hit the targets, setting off spectacular explosions that daylight reveals to have caused heavy damage.
We have eliminated their refining capacity. We have cut in half their ammunition production capabilities.
But Serb President Milosevic could just as confidently report that despite the bombing, his forces are succeeding in their drive to depopulate Kosovo.
Over 1 million men and women and children are on the move, fleeing from the death squads who burned, raped, and shot their way through Kosovo.
It is a deliberate, cold-blooded strategy, clearing out towns, chasing down the residents.
Shelling into the hills where the refugees are hiding so that they are forced to come down. Beating them out of the bush, if you like.
Most are herded to the border. Others are used as human shields.
Ethnic Albanian men were forced to stand in front of tanks in the rain for 2 days with their hands tied behind their heads.
As the war enters its second month, NATO troops are already in Macedonia, Albania, and Bosnia. NATO hopes to complete the encirclement of Yugoslavia by basing planes in Hungary and using Romanian and Bulgarian airspace to attack from every direction.
Milosevic would seem to be in a no-win position. But while he is slowly losing his war against NATO, he is rapidly winning his war against the people of Kosovo. David Martin, CBS News, the Pentagon.
600,000 ethnic Albanian refugees have fled Kosovo, while an estimated 850,000 are believed to be still inside the war-torn province. But once again, in the last 2 days, the flood of refugees has suddenly dried up, raising fears about what's happening inside Kosovo. CBS's Tom Fenton reports from the Albanian border.
Serbian soldiers are the only signs of life on the Kosovo side of the border, digging bunkers, manning gun positions. For hours now, not a single refugee has crossed this frontier into Albania.
United Nations sources say there's a column 12 miles long of up to 100,000 people on foot who were seen a few days ago in southern Kosovo and have now completely disappeared. The question is, where are they now? What has happened to them?
We really don't know what happened to them.
That's the bottom line.
That's the bottom line. Their fate remains unknown to us at the time.
The stories of refugees who crossed the border recently give some idea of how the refugees are treated by Serb soldiers. This woman says they took everything.
Even the rings have been pulled out.
And she was forced to pay the soldiers not to rape her daughter-in-law. Abdullah Osmani has come all the way from Germany to wait at the border for his wounded mother.
My brother is dead, and my mother is shot and is in hospital.
Shot by?
By the police force.
The Serbs.
The Serbs.
With as many as 850,000 ethnic Albanians believed to be on the move in Kosovo, and tens of thousands in border refugee camps, it seems that most of Kosovo is on a journey, one without end. Tom Fenton, CBS News, Kukës, Albania.
And coming up next on tonight's CBS Evening News, we'll go back to Littleton, Colorado to talk with a survivor of the carnage at Columbine High School.
Nature made me a person of many parts. Nature made me determined to make all of them last. And thankfully, to help, there are premium quality nature-made vitamins and herbs, like vitamin E, which research shows can help keep my heart healthy. There's no stopping me, because nature made me.
I can eat corn on the cob, and I can eat the apples, as long as I've got Super Polygrip on these dentures. I know that it works. I mean, it holds my teeth in place. Using the Super Polygrip, I can continue auctioneering. Bid 35 and now bid 40, now 5, 45 and now bid.
There are certain things your body is going through that the chemo is doing to you. I was tired, very, very tired. One time, my grandchildren were all over, and they all went out and got ice cream. And they're all lined up on the porch, all with ice cream. They start from the age of 3 all the way up to 18 years of age. What a photograph that had to be. I did not have the energy to go upstairs to grab the camera. I missed the photograph. To me, a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. Go out. Live your life. That's what I'm doing now.
The Colorado school shootings will have complete coverage, plus voices from Kosovo, a behind-the-scenes look at the people and the place.
Tomorrow.
On This Morning.
We want to go back now to Littleton, Colorado, scene today of a high school shooting rampage where 25 or more people may have been killed. Joining us now is student Adam Foss, who was hiding out in the choir room of the high school. Adam, I imagine that you're probably pretty shaken up at this moment.
Yeah, after I saw the gunman, I saw a couple shots fired off, saw a teacher get shot like right in front of me. So like me and 3 of my buddies just grabbed everybody we could, just threw them into the choir room and barricaded ourselves in there until the SWAT came and got us out.
Tell me just a little bit about the gunmen. How were they acting? What were they doing?
From what I know, there's 3 of them. I saw just the barrels of 2, and I just saw the fire come out of the end of the barrels, and it just started. After that, it was just a bunch of shots, and then I just turned around and grabbed everybody I could and threw them in the room.
What goes through your mind at a moment like that?
I guess family, friends, just making sure everybody's alive, making sure everybody's okay, doing my job.
Has it sunk in yet what happened? And we saw earlier scenes of, I guess you were among the crowd that was running out of the choir room and up the steps as you ran past the bodies of a couple of your fellow students. Has it sunk in yet what happened?
No, not at all. I guess I'm trying to forget it, but it's just not something you want to ever remember.
Adam, we're glad that you got out alive.
Thank you.
Thanks for joining us.
You bet.
Federal health officials sought today to reassure patients taking Celebrex, among the first of the so-called super aspirins to win FDA approval. In 3 months on the market, 10 Celebrex users have died and 11 had serious stomach bleeding. But the FDA notes this is out of more than 2.5 million people who have prescriptions for Celebrex, and the reported problems have not been linked to the drug. Turns out tonight that there may also be no link, at least for healthy people, between eating eggs and a higher risk of heart disease. CBS's Elizabeth Caledon has the new hard-boiled facts on that.
How would you like the eggs? At the Eggs Up family restaurant, the breakfast crowd can now bask in the glow of their sunny side up.
I love eggs, omelets, sandwiches.
The study in tomorrow's Journal of the American Medical Association reverses what we've thought to be true for a generation. There is no link between egg consumption and heart disease.
The eggs weren't really as bad as they had been made out to be, and this study provides the most direct evidence that the case against eggs has been overstated.
Researchers analyzed the diets of more than 100,000 people for at least 8 years. What they found is that when it comes to dietary cholesterol, eating 1 egg a day or 2 every other day won't hurt you.
Because eggs are high in cholesterol, there's often a misperception that they're also high in saturated fat. But they're not. And saturated fat is the real villain when it comes to heart disease.
Big egg eaters tend to have high-fat diets, according to the American Heart Association, which says that eggs are okay as long as you give up the buttered toast and ham that go with them.
Does it vindicate the egg? Well, it just reconfirms that the egg can fit into our heart-healthy diet.
The incredible edible egg. That's music to the ears of the American Egg Board, which has campaigned for years to mend the egg's cracked reputation.
Well, this is a marvelous day for the egg. We've waited 20 years to get this kind of good news that really shows the public eggs are not a health risk.
But just remember, the next time you order them, skip the bacon. Elizabeth Caledon, CBS News, New York.
And we'll be back with an update on the school shooting in Littleton, Colorado in a moment.
lively conversation every morning. Wrestling Sunday afternoons. Flower arranging weekends. Bike riding whenever. Boost daily. With essential vitamins and minerals, Boost is just one of those special things you do to take care of yourself. In bars and drinks, Boost, a nutritional part of this complete life.
Papa John's is only 14 years old.
But we've already been ranked higher in customer satisfaction than our 3 largest competitors. 3 years in a row.
Help us celebrate our big win.
Our success and our anniversary.
Get 2 large pizzas with 2 toppings for just $12. 2 large, 2 toppings, just $12.
Taste our pride.
Better ingredients, better pizza, Papa John's. And our most important ingredient, better people.
You got that right. I know a place.
Americans love scenery. We can't get enough of it. We don't care how far it is. We want to see it all. Good thing there's Chevy Malibu, a car designed to take us anywhere and back. It'll actually go up to 100,000 miles before its first scheduled tune-up. That's a lot of vacations and a lot of souvenirs. So take the long way home. It's the car you knew America could build. Malibu, genuine Chevrolet.
I'll take you there.
Sundown Herbals presents its remarkable Twist and Learn label. This unique label gives you so much information, it can help take the mystery out of taking herbs. Sundown's new Twist and Learn label, where to turn for help.
It's April. Can showers be very far behind? Remember to protect your deck with Thompson's Wood Protector. Rain, sun, mildew, nothing we make works harder, longer, so nothing can rain on your parade. Thompson's Wood Protector, it never takes a day off.
Late today, the nation's largest chain of psychiatric hospitals, Charter Behavioral Health Systems, filed a motion attempting to prevent CBS's 60 Minutes 2 from airing a special investigation on the institution tomorrow night. CBS has protested this action, calling it unconstitutional. A federal judge in North Carolina will rule tomorrow. A program note: we had planned to bring you tonight part 2 of the Eye in America series on suicide by cop. We're postponing that report because of the breaking news in Littleton, Colorado. And here is the latest on that. If police are correct that at least 25 are dead in the shooting spree at Columbine High School in the Denver suburbs, it is the deadliest incident of school violence of the decade and perhaps in U.S. history. Police believe at least 2 of the dead were students or former students who staged the attack that erupted around lunch period and lasted for hours. Some victims were left sprawled outside the building and appeared to be dead. Hospitals reported receiving at least 20 wounded. The alleged shooters were said to be members of the so-called trench coat mafia, outsiders who apparently showed up today with explosive guns and a grudge. SWAT teams helped evacuate scores of students who were trapped inside the school building during the violence. CBS News will be following this story throughout the evening. We'll be back on the air immediately with any major developments. For now, that's the CBS Evening News. For Dan Rather, I'm John Roberts, CBS News in New York. Good night.
For news 24 hours a day, CBS.com on the internet and on our interactive partner, America Online, at keyword CBS News.